Hi and welcome to the video. I'm Damon, this is Dame Over, and today we're getting stuck back into Battlefield 5 and looking at the reward for week 2 of A Few Good Soldiers, the new semi-auto rifle for the assault class, the MAZ-44, which I have dubbed the mid-range monster. This weapon is seriously good at those mid-range gunfights, which in Battlefield 5 is only ever going to be a good thing because mid-range is where most of the shooting is done from. Could this be the new favourite in the assault class? I think it's pretty likely. So I'll talk you through the stats, the pros and cons of using it, which specializations I think are best, and throw in a few of my own tips and tricks too along the way. So if you find this video useful or entertaining, make sure you've hit that like button, and if you're new around here and you want to keep up to date with more Battlefield 5 content, make sure you've hit that subscribe button too. So let's have a look at the specializations first, and I've gone first of all with quick aim, aiming down your sight 33% faster. It makes mid-range and close-range fights especially a lot easier to deal with. Custom stock, which improves accuracy in aimed fire, and ADSing is something you're going to be doing a lot with this weapon. Lightened stock, which gives you more mobility when you're aiming down sight. Like I said, it's something you'll be doing a lot, and being able to dodge bullets and duck and weave is something that's very important. And lastly, recoil buffer, which means the MAZ will recoil less upwards. Now these are obviously my personal preferences, but I think objectively are probably the best ones as well. Being forced to stay stationary for that extra accuracy with barrel bedding I don't think is a really good idea. It just makes yourself a much easier target for other players. Having enhanced grip so your hip fire is better. You're not really going to be hip firing with this weapon very often at all, so having that improved seems a bit obsolete. Detachable magazines is a very attractive prospect because it doesn't have much ammo per reload, but still it's a sacrifice that I don't want to make considering you can be far more accurate with the other skill trees, and having high velocity bullets again is another compromise that I don't particularly want to make over being more accurate. And now the stats. Well, what are we looking at here? I'm going to compare the MAZ-44 to other semi-autos in the assault class, all of which have been fully upgraded, and we'll start with the fire rate. The MAZ-44 can fire 360 rounds a minute, so it sits in the middle to low end as far as fire rate goes. It's beaten by the AGM-42, another very good mid-range rifle which fires at 450 rounds a minute, but you can still get your shots off quickly enough with the MAZ to win fights even up close, thanks to that relatively high damage. But the MAZ is most like the Gewehr 1-5 and the Turner SMLE statistically. After being upgraded to improve ADS accuracy and reduce recoil on all of these weapons, the Gewehr and the MAZ have the same stats for accuracy, hip fire and control, and the SMLE matches the extra damage per shot, but has slightly less control, and it's this extra damage per shot, reducing the time to kill, and the effective range you can get a 3-tap body shot kill with that makes this weapon so good at mid-range. Obviously, it has a small magazine with just 10 rounds in it and is loaded with a stripper clip, which to me sounds like a short video promoting a gentleman's club. It loads in rounds of 5, and just like with the Turner, Gewehr 43 and the AG, if you haven't chosen the detachable magazine specialization. So if you can make sure to keep that in mind as you play, you'll avoid those very lengthy single bullet reload animations, which is something it took me some time to get used to. I was constantly firing in 6-round bursts unnecessarily, and it forced me to take cover and reload for far longer than I wanted to. Now, as we know, these in-game stats aren't very accurate, and unfortunately I can't give you exact figures, but I can tell you what it feels like to use the MAZ. It is very similar to the AG M42, but obviously with the slower fire rate and more accuracy. The difference in rate of fire doesn't feel like much of a disadvantage because of that extra damage, and it feels like it recoils less than the AG, going entirely vertical as well, which is great to have at longer ranges, particularly if you're able to remain stationary. The MAZ is a 4-tap kill outside of mid-range, so if you've used a lot of the semi-auto rifles before, you'll not notice much difference, and at mid-range, if you can land some headshots, you'll be putting your targets down in just 2 shots. As far as I can judge in the game, the most effective range is from about 35 to 55 meters. This again is my best guess as I can't tell you exactly, and I'm judging it by sight, but it's at these sorts of ranges that I feel the MAZ can really dominate. If you can stay accurate, you'll beat the M1A1 almost every time without needing to land a headshot, and it's easier to compete with than the Turner SMLE thanks to that higher accuracy. The Recon class is a little trickier to fight at longer ranges, especially against their semi-auto rifles because you don't have that many bullets at your disposal. But again, good aim will obviously be rewarded. I'd try to avoid a stand-up fight in the open if you can though. Taking on the support class is made a lot easier thanks to that 2-tap headshot kill. You'll need to be exposed for far less time than with the AGM42, for example, so if you've got someone lying down with an MMG or an LMG, you'll be able to take them out nice and quickly. Close range is a little trickier. I've chosen the medium range scope, which I do for almost all of the semi-auto rifles because it really helps stay accurate at mid to long range, so up close is naturally going to be tougher. It is still a 3-shot kill to the body, so if you can shoot first, you'll stand a really good chance of winning the fight against medics and supports, but the higher damage and a higher rate of fire of the Sturmgewehr, for instance, will cause you some problems. Basically, avoid close quarters fights if you're able to. The Maz is at its best taking on a couple of targets at a time from mid-range, so only go in close when it's absolutely necessary, and if you do, this is when you need to rely on your gadgets, grenades, and your sidearm to bring you out alive. I've found this weapon to be very easy to control. Shooting at the full rate of fire is obviously a little more difficult depending on the range, so if you're able to, let the sights reset and drop back down again before firing. But like I say, this is quick and almost entirely vertical, so you shouldn't struggle to stay on target too much. The 10-round mag will be what puts players off, especially when the Gewehr 1-5 has 31 at its disposal with just a little less damage. But from what I've experienced, the Gewehr is just not as easy to use. Having to spend time to fire that extra round or two isn't a trade-off I like to make personally. I think it's a good addition to the assault class, although it is frighteningly similar to the other semi-autos. I get on with it really well, and I've been seeing it a lot in the lobbies I've been playing in, so the Maz is obviously doing something right. But that's just what I think. What do you guys make of the Maz 44? Have you unlocked it yet? Are you going to have to wait until a few good soldiers is over to get your hands on it? Make sure you let me know what you think down in the comments below. And here's a quick thank you to my Dame operatives, those of you guys helping to support the channel through Patreon. It's because of you guys I'm able to put content out as often as I do, and hopefully in the near future with more support I'll be able to start doing this full time. So if you want to become a patron yourself, I've left a link in the description. There'll be one in the pinned comment too, where if you'd like to, you can help support the channel from as little as $1 a month. So if you had a good time, make sure you've hit that like button. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button too. Don't forget the bell button for notifications so you don't miss any future posts, and as always, share this video absolutely wherever you like. And until next time, that's Dame over. Peace.